Imagine a network of underground tunnels and halls stretching for thousands of miles. According to one of the most daring hypotheses, the total length of ancient underground passages could reach 10,000 miles, connecting different continents, a distance exceeding the diameter of the Earth. These are not just natural caves or artificial catacombs, but a grandiose architectural system carved into the rock with exceptional precision and scale. How could such a gigantic structure have been created, and for what purpose? Why did these structures remain unnoticed by most researchers until recently? Probably because their entrances were carefully hidden or deliberately walled up by their creators. These tunnels run under entire continents, connecting territories that are now considered isolated and unconnected by ancient civilizations. From the mountain ranges of Europe to the valleys of the Middle East, as well as under the Asian deserts, the discovery of these underground passages testifies to the existence of a single great civilization, or, at least, an incredibly developed and possibly secret network of communication between the peoples of antiquity who possessed common secret knowledge. Researchers are particularly interested in the secret underground passages of Sumer, the cradle of civilization. Sumerian civilization, one of the oldest and most advanced in history, is famous for its ziggurats, cuneiform writing, and profound astronomical knowledge. But legends and some recent archaeological discoveries suggest that their great achievements may not have been limited to the surface, but extended deep into the earth. Ancient Sumerian texts mention mysterious underground dwellings and even divine visits from the earth or the underworld. These texts describe a complex water management system and remarkably durable structures capable of withstanding any natural disaster. Scientific research has revealed traces of extensive underground complexes beneath the ruins of cities such as and Eridu. These complexes are not just burial chambers, but carefully designed and engineered spaces with ventilation and water supply systems as if created for long-term and secret existence. Some scientists believe that these underground chambers could have been shelters or even centers of secret knowledge, where ancient, still unsolved secrets were kept. The scale of these discoveries is mind-boggling. These are not isolated caves, but an entire underground network, which makes one wonder what knowledge ancient people had about the structure of the planet and why they made such enormous efforts to create an entire underground civilization. Was it a refuge from some external factor, or was it related to certain knowledge that had to be hidden from outsiders? And why do these places still seem to keep their secrets even now? This story is just beginning to unfold, and its development will surely rethink all our ideas about the past. For a long time, legends about underground passages connecting continents were considered myths. However, today scientific data casts doubt on skepticism. Modern technologies penetrating beneath the thickness of rock reveal not chaos, but traces of a colossal and well-thought-out structure. The length of this network, which is 10,000 miles long, testifies not only to archaeological finds, but also to a large-scale project of the prehistoric era. Under Cappadocia in Turkey lies a striking example of this architectural genius. Ancient cities such as Derinkuyu and Kaymakli are not ordinary shelters. They extend dozens of levels down, creating completely self-sufficient complexes capable of withstanding the most severe tests. Research shows that Derinkuyu, which could accommodate up to 20,000 people, was designed with exceptional engineering precision. Ventilation shafts, drilled with exceptional precision at all levels, ensured perfect air circulation, as if someone, without knowing aerodynamics as we understand it, had planned it with incredible accuracy. Multi-ton stone millstone doors allowed entire sections to be sealed off, turning the city into an impregnable defensive structure. The builders, whose names and time of activity are shrouded in mystery, possessed knowledge that seems alien to us, as if from another civilization or era. What prompted an ancient civilization to leave the world and put so much effort into creating a world plunged into eternal darkness and isolation? This question torments researchers. The further we follow the presumed trajectory of the tunnels, the more mysteries we encounter along the way. In Romania, beneath the ancient Carpathian Mountains, there are unofficial but persistent rumors of the existence of deep tunnels with unusually smooth, as if melted, walls. These passages, known as the Sphere Project, according to deep scanning data, extend for kilometers into the Earth and, according to alarming assumptions, are connected to a Middle Eastern system of underground structures, including the secret underground passages of the Sumerians. In some places, the surface of the walls resembles something that could have been treated with thermal or plasma exposure rather than carved by hand, which rules out the use of conventional tools. This indicates the use of technologies unknown to us. Traces of metal inclusions have been found in some areas, the composition of which has not been identified in the Earth's crust. This leads to the mystical assumption that the network may have been created not by humanity, but by an alien race possessing technologies that function on principles that we are only now beginning to comprehend. Clay tablets with Sumerian cuneiform writing contain many hints about the secrets of the underground world. The Anunnaki, deities that we usually perceive as visitors from the heavens, are often associated with the world underground in Sumerian myths. References to the ways of the god Enki and the house underground indicate that for the Sumerians, the world beneath the surface was a living, active space, perhaps even their true home. Secret seismic surveys beneath the ruins of the ancient capital of Sumer, have discovered vast, geometrically precise cavities underground. Located at great depths, these structures testify to a high level of engineering that rules out the possibility of their creation with primitive tools. This suggests that the Sumerian ziggurats, these stepped towers, may have been not only stairways to the sky, but also monumental, symbolic beacons pointing to the entrance to a mysterious underground world. One of the biggest mysteries is the absence of traces of rock debris. Scientists have calculated that the creation of a tunnel network of this scale, 10,000 miles, would have required the extraction of an enormous amount of rock. However, no traces of this volume have been found. No mass traces of primitive tools have been found either. This has led to the hypothesis that the stone may not have been simply dug out, but transformed or even vaporized using unknown, possibly energetic methods. Thus, the tunnels may not be mere passageways, but evidence of the activity of a gigantic, ancient mechanism. Perhaps this underground artery is the last material legacy of a lost world civilization. Consequently, the 10,000-mile network ceases to be a mere geological anomaly. It becomes physical evidence of the hidden history of humanity, unfolding far from sunlight in deep, technologically advanced depths. Every new meter found and studied brings us closer to understanding that the ancient world was far more complex and mysterious than we can imagine. The study of an underground network stretching for 10,000 miles inevitably confronts researchers with a technological paradox. It is no longer a question of how people could have accomplished this, but what invisible force was involved in creating these perfectly even, smooth passages in the rock massifs. Such precision of execution forces us to look for explanations beyond our knowledge of human history. The study of the European segments, known as Erdstall, mainly in Bavaria and Austria, has revealed their most fascinating feature. The cross-section of the tunnels remains unchanged for hundreds of meters. The passage itself is carved into granite and basalt, which requires enormous effort, even with modern equipment. It is noteworthy that there are no traces of drilling, impact, or explosions on the walls. They appear to have been carved from the inside, with some kind of tool capable of melting or transforming stone. Professor Heinrich Kusch, who devoted his entire life to studying the European network, claimed that some of its sections are so perfectly polished that it would be impossible to achieve this with primitive hand tools. Such careful workmanship, in his opinion, indicates the use of powerful but controllable energy, possibly high-frequency or plasma energy, capable of molecular restructuring of the rock. This technological mystery is closely intertwined with the mystery of the missing rock. The absence of millions of tons of waste rock during the construction of a system stretching for 10,000 miles is one of the most compelling arguments in favor of the ancient builders not using the digging methods familiar to us. Hypotheses are emerging that venture into the realm of esotericism. Some claim levitation or instantaneous movement of rock into another dimension. Others claim a technology for transforming matter that allows stone to be turned into a light, dusty material or even pure energy. Sumerian texts describing the construction of the gods mention the use of heavenly fire in working with stone. This may be a poetic metaphor for laser or plasma technology which modern engineers are striving to access. The geometry of underground structures often takes on a mystical meaning. Tunnels often form closed loops or converge at points that coincide with the concentration of the Earth's geomagnetic lines. An example of this can be found in the discoveries made under Monte Sorate in Italy. The segments found there are not only perfectly formed, but are also believed to obey certain mathematical laws related to the resonance frequencies characteristic of the Earth's crust. The acoustic features of the Middle Eastern part of the network are also interesting. Sound travels unusually fast and clearly in these tunnels, creating the impression that the entire tunnel is a giant resonator. This may indicate that the tunnels were designed not only as passageways, but also as waveguides or elements for transmitting energy over impressive distances. The Sumerian underground, being part of this system, is distinguished by its exceptional understanding of interaction with the planet. The complexes under and Eridu are built in such a way as to use underground water flows to create natural heating and protection systems. A study of their structures shows that these structures are capable of withstanding enormous seismic loads, which in a region with active tectonics indicates a high level of seismological knowledge. This understanding of the behavior of the Earth's interior indicates that the creators of the underground passages possessed not only primitive skills, but also extensive and deep scientific knowledge. The most troubling question remains the fate of the inhabitants of this network. If it was intended for rescue, why was it sealed? And why are there virtually no signs of long-term human habitation? In the European sectors of the network, bones of strange animals and unusual tools made of unknown alloys are occasionally found. In the Sumerian part, clay tablets have been found, covered not with cuneiform, but with a more ancient pictographic script, which, according to linguists, tells of creatures living far from the light. These chronicles of the depths may be the key to unraveling the identity of the true creators, or at least those who used these passages to achieve their mysterious goals. Consequently, the 10,000-mile network appears not simply as a collection of caves, but as parts of an ancient, now defunct, but technically perfect machine. Perfectly aligned walls, mysterious alloys, and acoustic anomalies are all components of a global system, possibly created to manage resources, energy, or even to interact with other worlds. The mystery of these tunnels is inextricably linked to the concept of hidden knowledge, which did not disappear but was deliberately preserved by those who possessed this technology. The massive stone doors blocking the passages serve not only as protection, but also as a repository for a powerful secret that humanity is not yet ready to understand. The mystery of the global tunnel network stretching for 10,000 miles boils down to the question of its true purpose. If these structures are not just shelters, but fragments of a grandiose, long-defunct machine, what was its ultimate goal? Researchers suggest that the key to the mystery lies in the exact coincidence of the location of the underground complexes with the sites of ancient planetary catastrophes that shook the Earth in prehistoric times. For a long time, the scientific community considered these findings separately. Derinkuyu in Turkey has an isolated refuge, and the European Erdstall as primitive storage facilities. But superimposing all confirmed and presumed sites on a single map revealed a striking truth. They form a single, geometrically precise structure covering a vast area of the Northern Hemisphere. Such a global interconnection cannot be a coincidence. It testifies to a single technological project, a common plan, and, most importantly, a single threat that forced civilization to seek refuge underground. Myths about catastrophic floods, sudden shifts in the magnetic poles, and heavenly fire that destroyed the surface cease to be mere legends. They become accurate historical records describing events from which people sought refuge by building underground shelters. In light of this discovery, the secret underground chambers of the Sumerians take on the status of important hubs. As masters of astronomy, the Sumerians could not only predict disasters but also take measures to prevent them. Legends about their gods, the Anunnaki, who supposedly descended from the sky and settled in houses underground, may indicate that tunnel construction technology was passed on to humanity during a period of planetary crisis. Texts describing Apsu as the realm of the god Enki may not be merely mythological tales, but may also reflect the existence of complex underground structures that served as repositories not only of knowledge, but possibly also of mechanisms. These structures are not just underground chambers, but entire complexes where both knowledge and mechanisms were stored, making the Sumerian complexes potential control centers for some kind of network or the main repositories of ancient wisdom. The most mysterious and intriguing aspect is the phenomenon of echo. Researchers who dared to penetrate the most remote and isolated parts of the tunnels report inexplicable acoustic phenomenon, a faint rhythmic hum, as if coming from the stone itself. It is not an echo, but a resonance, which, according to some physicists, may be the result of the functioning of an ancient energy system. In the same places where the hum is recorded, electronics begin to malfunction, compasses go off course, and instrument readings become unpredictable. This has led to the hypothesis that the tunnels may be part of a global system that not only transmitted energy, but also interacted with the space-time continuum. As a result, the 10,000-mile network may have been more than just a refuge. Some scientists believe that it could have been a complex instrument, possibly designed to generate energy or interact with the Earth's magnetic field. Traces of highly organized but clearly extraterrestrial activity have been found in remote, carefully sealed passages. Symbols carved into the walls do not correspond to any known Earth writing system. Researchers believe that these symbols may not be letters, but mathematical matrices or physical equations encrypted in the form of patterns. Their location at points of maximum geomagnetic anomalies supports the idea that the tunnels are connected to the planet's energy lines. Perhaps these mysterious symbols are instructions for activating or deactivating the system, the key to the legacy left to us. The story of a vast underground network of tunnels forces us to rethink the entire official history of human development. These gigantic structures are not primitive caves, but material evidence of the existence of a powerful global civilization that chose to hide in the depths of the planet in order to survive during a period of planetary cataclysms. The Sumerian underground, the European Erdstall, and the mysterious Asian passages are all fragments of a single large-scale project. Most likely, the purpose of this construction was not only to preserve life, but also to preserve the supreme wisdom that gave this civilization the ability to create such wonders. One of the most mysterious phenomena associated with the 10,000-mile underground network is the similarity of myths and legends about underground kingdoms among different peoples who are completely unrelated to each other. Although these peoples are separated by oceans and centuries, they tell similar stories about creatures rising from the depths and grandiose passages leading to the underground world. This suggests that the entire network may have been created or actively used during one specific, critical period in Earth's history. In North America, the Hopi Indians tell of underground dwellings where their ancestors took refuge from the fire rain. In Hindu mythology, there is Patal, the underworld, which could be reached through deep wells and caves guarded by Nagas, snake-like creatures. Celtic legends tell of the Siddhe, a people living under mounds and hills who could penetrate the surface through secret portals. Combining these myths, we get a strikingly coherent picture. The entire planet was permeated by a network of underground passages that served as both a refuge and a transportation system for an advanced civilization that spanned the globe. Interestingly, these underground complexes demonstrate astronomical orientation. In many places where tunnels reach the surface or where large underground halls are located, their location coincides with the projection of star clusters that were visible in the sky 20 or 30,000 years ago. For example, some researchers believe that the secret underground chambers of the Sumerians under Ur are oriented along an axis corresponding to the position of the star Sirius in ancient times. In Cappadocia, some ventilation shafts appear to have been oriented toward specific points in the sky, suggesting that their purpose may have been not only to provide ventilation, but also to facilitate astronomical observations. This suggests that the 10,000-mile network may have been not only a refuge from earthly disasters, but also part of a much larger project related to space. If an ancient civilization possessed technologies capable of melting stone and moving matter, its relationship with the stars may have been more than just religious in nature. Perhaps the underground complexes were used as bases, and some theorists believe that their connection to astronomical objects may indicate a function related to space, such as the role of stargates in myths. In this case, the sealing of the tunnels takes on a different interpretation. It could have been aimed at isolating the Earth from external cosmic influences or at concealing technology that was inaccessible to humanity after the catastrophe. This interpretation is consistent with mythological narratives about gods who left or returned to the sky, closing the paths to their world behind them. Consequently, the 10,000-mile network is not just the result of grandiose construction work, but the key to unraveling the global space policy of ancient civilizations. It serves as material evidence that our ancestors or their predecessors were participants in a complex interplanetary history, and that underground structures are the last silent guardians of this forgotten era. Solving this mystery could radically change our understanding of ancient civilizations and their technological progress. The tunnels are sealed repositories of the past, holding unsolved mysteries. Their solution, like a sleeping giant, waits for its hour, hidden in eternal darkness, guarded by thick stone doors and the mystical, pulsating noise of the earth.